Hey there, I'm Kenny, and boy do I have a treat for you today. We're gonna create this this is something everyone's familiar about. This is something that everybody has heard about, had a variation of it. They haven't really gone to their roots and seen what the original was like. If you haven't seen the title, it's a Caesar salad. And back then, what they used was whole leaf salad. It's not actually based on Julius Caesar. And how this recipe came about is just interesting. So this salad was invented by Caesar Cardini. Early in the 1910s, he moved to California. So when Prohibition came, he packed his stuff from California and moved all the way down to Mexico to set up his new store. Some people said that he created the salad. Some people said that Alex, his brother, who also set up a restaurant in Mexico, created the salad and then he served it there first. And the general story is that this is something that they whipped up after they ran out of supplies. They made it with the makeshift items that they already had. So we're gonna do that today. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with an egg. We just want the yolk, so we're gonna crack our egg. We don't want any of the whites, so we're gonna and then get that into a cup so we can use it later, and an egg yolk. And we're gonna add some black pepper, and we're gonna use some Worcestershire. We're gonna use some Parmesan, some olive oil, and we're gonna use a fork and mash it up. If you have a whisk, that might help. And if you have grated parm, that might help too. The parm that I have are these petals. It won't incorporate as easy, but it's okay. Oh wow. It smells really, really fragrant in here. I love the smell of cheese and Worcestershire, the vinegariness. If you're a history buff, you probably know about the garum, the ancient Romans that used to use to flavor everything. I'm pretty sure Worcestershire is a close equivalent of that in today's time. It was a fish brine, or sort of say, like a fermented fish sauce that they use to flavor up anything and make it taste good. So I think it's very similar to Worcestershire. And then after we mash that and kind of mix it, we're gonna put it aside because we're gonna make some croutons. Get a plate, get a pan, and we're gonna use a couple day old Italian loaf because that's the only way to get this done, right? To Caesar salad, you want an Italian loaf. And the way we're gonna cut, that's better. So where we're gonna cut it is similar to bruschetta. We're gonna have croutons that slightly imitate the size of bruschetta, or you know what I mean, right? These angled biscuits, sort of say. And make sure you do this with stale bread, because fresh bread, for some reason, doesn't turn out well when you're making croutons. Not much sure, we're just gonna toast up some bread with butter. Obviously, you can pop them in the oven and make it ahead of time, or even use store-bought croutons, which, I don't know, I love that too, so no shame here. Get some salted butter. It has to be butter. You can't use any of those margarines or something like that because they taste awful. I used to like them, but once you go butter, you can't go back. Get an end piece to slather that all over and start dumping in your bread and toast them up. Like I said, you can always make this ahead of time. It's not a big deal if you do. And if it overcrowds the pan, Remember, we're not cooking a steak here. We're just toasting up some bread. And before you flip it over in a little bit, we're gonna add some more butter. Make sure the pan is not too hot because then it just burns everything. You can't really go wrong with these, so keep your eye on them and make sure they don't burn. Look at that. Okay, so if you want to prevent like spotty cooking, these things, you should probably do it in batches, not like me. If you have garlic butter, that will work better. Compound butter, all that's nice. You just want some, or at least I only want some toasty bread. Do they look the best? No. Doesn't have to be. Well, I'm really getting lazy with these, aren't I? Ooh. Anyway, so you just want some crisp bread. Some will be more crisp than the others. So just know that. Keep the good pieces to yourself, and if you slightly don't like someone at your gathering, you give them those white, non-buttery parts, and I mean, they'll still taste pretty good, but at least you know you didn't give him, you know, the cream of the crop, you know. So it's not a big deal. Anyway, so yeah, this is a salad. Let's get back to this. And what you do is, they didn't chop up their salad like we usually do. They throw in whole stalks like that, and then I don't know how they mixed it, actually. Maybe I didn't make enough sauce, but honestly, this is the biggest bowl that I had, so I thought it would have worked, but it's not. But anyway, get some container that is bigger than this. Maybe use a pot, but the goal is here to coat the leaves and the vinaigrette that we just made with Worcestershire cheese, oil, egg yolk, and you know what? That's close enough. We're gonna try to serve them. Okay. This will be interesting. A stalk of leaf. You can see inside that there's salad dressing, and we'll put a toast beside it, and that's your salad. As you can see, there's a piece of salad, or the leaf, and a toast beside it, and we're done. So this is our Caesar salad, and I guess this is pretty close to what they had back then. Is this fancy? Arguable. Yeah, so I know this is kind of insane, isn't it? That they served, that's the salad. I mean, it's quite unrefined. What do you do? Do you just eat it like this? Besides that little hair getting in my mouth, it's actually it's okay. Very cheesy. It does kind of taste. I mean, you know what? It's not bad. Is it good? It can be. I don't know. Maybe with the crouton it's a little better. You know, I can't just eat a piece of lettuce alone, so I got me some barbecue wings. That's good. The salad. Do you think they used a knife like this to cut it up into small pieces? But then what's the point, right? Because then you would have just, like now, shred the lettuce up a little before you serve it so that it's easier for people to eat it. I think they just ate it like this. I mean, it would make sense if you want it cut up, then just cut it up yourself, right? Or cut it up beforehand. Okay. So for those of you think, why don't I have anchovies in this? I couldn't find anchovies in the original recipe, at least the ones that I looked through. There was no mention of anchovies at all. I always thought that there was anchovies in it, but when I got down to research, didn't say much. However, the current Caesar's restaurant in Tijuana does make it with anchovies. But like I said, this is something that they made with the ingredients that they have, so I guess if they ran out of an ingredient or two, they just changed it up, or maybe sometimes they just omitted it flat out, but yeah, so dipping the croutons or the bread in the salad dressing, that is a game changer though. Yeah, definitely better. And when you're making these croutons or bread, fried, I don't know what they're called, but every time you do that, you have to use stale bread. Fresh bread doesn't make it anywhere remotely close to the texture that it has. It's just so chewy and it's so satisfying versus just eating. Fresh bread has their place. You know, you butter them after you slit them open. It's wonderful. But when you're doing croutons, you gotta go with stale bread. Not old bread, stale bread. Thanks for cooking with me, watching me eat, and I'll see you soon.